Flipped History series. There are 4 learning intentions for this video. The first one is to describe the current of thought of secularism, and the success criteria is that I can describe the current of thought of secularism and provide examples of it. The second learning intention is to indicate which sectors of the economy was nationalized, and the success criteria is that you can indicate this sector of the economy that was nationalized. The third learning intention is to indicate the means of government intervention in the economy, and the success criteria is that you can indicate the means of government intervention in the economy. And finally, the last learning intention is to explain the second wave of feminism, and the success criteria is that you can explain the second wave of feminism using examples. Following the death of Maurice Duplessis in 1959, the Union Nationale lost the 1960 provincial election to the Liberal Party under Jean Lesage. This election victory was done because Quebec wanted to modernize itself. Quebec was behind many of the other provinces in terms of their economy and education and social status. So Jean Lesage promised a new way forward. It was time for a change. One of the first things that changed was the idea of the role of the church in Quebec society. So secularism took hold. As this graph here shows, the number of priests in the province dropped dramatically. Another thing that was very important at this time was the end of church control over education. The government appointed a commission known as the Parent Commission, and they recommended that the government take over schooling. The age of schooling increased. The government created the Ministry of Education. More high schools were constructed. The Cégep system began, and the Université of Quebec system also began at this time. Another big change during this period of the Quiet Revolution was the idea that Quebecers wanted to control their own destiny. As we saw with the asbestos strike, many of the large businesses were controlled by Anglophones, in many cases American business interests. So what the government promised was that Quebec would take control over its natural resources, more specifically hydro. Now, the Minister of Natural Resources was René Lévesque. René Lévesque was a former television journalist and now politician. He wanted to nationalize hydroelectricity in Quebec. So previously, the power system was run by a number of different private companies, and Lévesque thought that it was a resource that should be controlled for the benefit of the people, not for profit by private companies. There was other types of government intervention in the economy at this time. The government created a number of crown corporations, like the Caisse de dépôt et placement du Québec, to invest in the economy, as well other corporations to help run some of the natural resources, like Sidbec and SOQM. The government also invested large amounts in infrastructure, so big projects to help the transportation network, which would increase the economy by making it easier to transport goods and services throughout the province. So the autoroute system was greatly expanded, the subway in Montreal, and the federal government chipped in by creating new airports. As well, the final current of thought that came about at this time was the second wave of feminism. Now, the Liberal government of Jean Lesage brought in their first female minister, Marie-Claire Kirkland-Casgrain, and she fought for legal rights for women. Before the 1960s, in Quebec, women could not enter into legal agreements, they could not have bank accounts, they could not have credit cards. This all changed. As well, more controversially, women started to advocate for control over their own bodies. The birth control pill was a big innovation at this time. And maybe most controversial was the fight to gain access to abortions at this time. Finally, women also advocated for equal pay for equal work and for maternity benefits once they were in the labor market. This is the time that women really started to take up new roles in the world of work. Thank you for watching this video on the Quiet Revolution. As you go over your notes, please consider the following essential questions. How did the economy accelerate the growth of Canada? And how did currents of thought challenge each other at this time?